Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining today's Xpert Talk on entrepreneurship with Joanna Soh Pereira, who is an experienced entrepreneur based in Singapore. And she actually started her first company when she was only 19 and has since then continued to explore careers and started several other businesses. And today she is the CEO and founder of Macchiato Advertising Agency. And we have the honors to have some of her team join us today for this conversation as well. So that's really, really cool. And so she runs an advertising agency, but she also coaches millennials who are pursuing their own entrepreneurial journey. And I also know that she does some coaching in cryptocurrency as well. So we will talk about Joanna's entrepreneurial journey, what kind of challenges she's faced over the years, and of course, give you some advice on your entrepreneurial journeys as well. But before we dive into the interview, I just thought I'd introduce myself as well, and also Nexgen Careers. So my name is Cecilia, and I am the head of content creation, and I'm also hosting these interviews with Nexgen Careers. And Nexgen Careers is an organization who supports individuals in finding success in the future world of work. So how do we do this? We run online programs on our digital platform in career design and professional development. And we also do this on site here in Barcelona, in Cape Town, in Rome, in other parts of the world. And we also provide free resources on our website, such as this interview will come on the website for free for everyone to access and explore the fields that are most prominent in the future world of work, such as marketing, cryptocurrency that we're going to talk a little bit about today, but also social impact and hospitality and tourism and health and wellness and many, many more. So no matter what you're interested in, you're going to find something there to read about or watch a talk about. And what else? Yeah, we also run these Xpert Talks on LinkedIn. So if you make sure to go follow Nexgen Careers on LinkedIn, and you will see a list of the upcoming talks. And yeah, we usually have about 2 experts a week that come and join us for a conversation. So make sure you follow us on there, and please connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It would be cool to connect on there. Yeah. Okay, so now without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guest. And let's dive into the world of entrepreneurship. Hey, welcome, Joanna. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's really great to have you here, all the way from Singapore. Yay!
You represent.
Exactly. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, like you do so many different things, and you keep on finding new things to engage in, which is so uncommon for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs never really stop and keep finding new things to do. So being an entrepreneur, I would say, is more like a lifestyle than a profession. Yeah. So instead of focusing too much on your actual profession and your work, I just wanted to ask, who is Joanna as a person, and what is it that makes her an entrepreneur?
I think you pretty much covered it, that being an entrepreneur is not a profession, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I'm kind of a normal person. I mean, growing up in Singapore, I come from a middle income family. You know, my parents work normal jobs. I don't stay in a very big house. It's a normal sized house. Everything has been quite normal. So who am I? I think I'm just like everyone else, but I try to seek new experiences, or at least for my character, I'm someone who gets bored really quickly. So I can't be doing the same things day in, day out. I've tried the whole working 9 to 5. I really did try, and I loved what I do. So I studied architecture and I love doing design, but I just realized that when it's in the context of a 9 to 5 job, it's not something that I can continue doing for the next 40 years of my life. So I think that I'm quite blessed to have very different experiences. I would call it blessed, but I wouldn't wish anyone to go through the same kind of experiences that I did. So some of it helped me to shape shaped me to the person that I am today. So mostly they were bad stuff, but I saw the silver lining in all the bad stuff. So like my family's financial situation went downhill during one of the recessions. So that kind of opened my eyes to why I wanted, or why I focused so much on building personal wealth. Because if you are in a job, technically you are relying solely on that one source of income. And if your boss doesn't like you, or they have some form of bias, your career or your quality of life is limited to whatever that job can give. So that was one thing. The recession kind of opened up my eyes to how important money and the direct link to having more choices. Then also, I think something that a lot of millennials and Gen Zers face is, and especially so with the pandemic, I think a lot of us struggle with work-life balance and mental health issues. So I was diagnosed with depression when I was 19. And that gave me a whole different perspective on how I view certain situations as well. So those kind of, there were many others, okay? I would say if you don't reflect on the good stuff, it just seemed like bad situations, but I try and find the silver lining in all of them. So yeah, I think for all of us, our different experiences that we go through kind of shape us to the person that we are. And it's the same for me. I'm just another person who has different experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess going through a lot makes you resilient and makes you like bounce back, and having a positive attitude really helps in bouncing back and finding new opportunities, which is very important, or like it's a really good quality to have as an entrepreneur, to keep finding new opportunities. Because one thing that I've learned speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs and also being part of a startup is that you're going to fail a lot, and it's not going to be, like you're not going to win every day. You're probably gonna now this turning maybe a little bit into a depressive conversation, but it's true. And
it's real.
It's real. You're gonna fail a lot. But you have to do that in order to build that resilience, and in order to like see the silver lining and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so what does, like, apart from your personal experiences, like what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
I think for me, I kind of see life as a game, or at least like how it's like on the Discovery Channel.
Great.
In the animal kingdom, it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
And if you're weak, you're lower down in the food chain, you're not going to survive. So to me, entrepreneurship is kind of like climbing up the food chain, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need to constantly, I think you mentioned a few things, being able to adapt, being resilient. All these is not just for entrepreneurship, but if you want to succeed, especially right now with technology, a lot of companies have access to talents. They don't need to hire someone from your country, from the same country as them. They have a pool of talents that they can find. Whoever that is more hardworking, that is adaptable to what's happening. And one thing that I like about crypto is that it's really new. Not a lot of people understand it yet. So if you get in and have the first mover advantage, you're going to succeed as long as you adapt quicker. During the pandemic, how do you, as a business owner, how did I forecast what's going to happen? Everything is just based on how quick you adapt to things. So like the adaptability, being resilient, problem solving, all these are, maybe people coin it as entrepreneurial skills, but actually it's just survival of the fittest in our world.
No, that's
technology.
Yeah. No,
that's how I see it.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And we're speaking, I think maybe we will mention this a little bit later, speaking a little bit more about teams, because obviously you're an entrepreneur, but it doesn't always come down to the one person. No.
Yeah.
Like it's how does your team affect as well, like your entrepreneurial success, I guess? Like, Like
I would say 99% is based on the team.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
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 Because
and I guess,
you're not a leader. Sorry, continue.
No. Go continue. No.
Yeah. So if you're not considered a leader, if you don't have a team, you're just an individual.
Yeah.
You know, so entrepreneurs, people look up to you, your so-called role model, you're the boss, you're the CEO, basically all these terms that people coin you as, you are supposed to have a team. But for me, I believe that I believe more in influence than power, if that makes sense. So like when I used to work in corporate, I don't think they'll see this, but when I used to work in corporate, my superior, who holds a higher position than me, has lesser influence than my presence in the team to the rest of the people in my team. If that makes sense. So I've never looked towards a designation or like a status. But for me, I can be a nobody, but if my words have an influence on someone's life, it's more important. And that's that's what I kind of used to build my teams over the past 13 years. So I've always worked with, I've worked with mainly two different teams over the past 13 years. So my first company, I was there for like 8-9 years with the same team. And I started recruiting them from scratch from the time they were like 18-19 years old, and they grow with the company till they were like 26-27.
Yeah.
And I have no contracts with them, but they stay. They choose to stay and grow with the vision of the company. So I would say teams make up for 99% of whatever it is that I have. Because you're an individual, you have 24 hours in a day. There's a limit to how much you can do.
Exactly.
So if you're just really good on your own, there's no point. But if you have your team you can increase your whole team's abilities just by 1%. That's a lot of work that's going to get done. A lot more influence that we can achieve. So I've always believed in team. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just thought it was a good thing to mention, because when at least I did for a long time, when I thought about entrepreneurs, it's like, oh, but it's just the one person doing everything on their own. But it's not. It's like you have teams, internal teams, you have external teams. Like we're a team now working on this interview together, and everybody who joins in is also like a part of the team to make this whole thing work. So yeah, I just thought we'd mention that. And speaking a little bit more about the business side of things, of having a company, like, because obviously you've been finding a lot of success in your work in the past, in the end, you know, and you're running a successful business right now. So I wanted to ask you, what's the secret recipe for a successful business, in your opinion?
We just mentioned it. We just spoke about it. It's the team.
It's the team. It's the team.
Yeah. So the business idea can be, to me, there's no such thing as a bad idea. So if you have an average idea but you have a great team, I believe it's going to be more successful than a fantastic idea. But there's no one that wants to work with you to build on that.
Yeah.
So if you have no influence, I mean, if you do have money to pay people to work for you, I don't really consider that as a team, because they're obligated to exchange their hours for the compensation. But would that person still stay if you don't pay them for the next month? Most of the time, it's a no.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not about the compensation. It's whether they believe in the same things as you. And we just spoke about teams. So definitely it's a team. And then the resources, how it's going to play out, how we're going to build it, all comes secondary.
Yeah.
The technical side comes secondary. That's for me how I see it.
Amazing. And I guess the next question is also all about teams, or it is definitely all about teams, because something that you talk about a lot, or we talked about a lot before this interview, is diversity and inclusion within teams, within a company. So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you, which like, obviously it's important. And how do you incorporate that when building your organizations, like as a leader? How do you think about that and making sure that everybody's okay?
Few things. I think first thing, when we started to build the team, Paulina, which is also on the call with us, she has been with me from the start when I wanted to restructure my agency. So she was there when we had a discussion like, okay, we're going to have a representative from every single Southeast Asian country because we run a marketing and advertising agency. I don't just want to receive news from the news. I need to know what's actually going on in the country. Yeah. What are the trends? What are the people talking about? So when we expanded the team during COVID, around a year ago, this timing, we had, I think, close to 30 people that joined us, and we ensured that we have a new hire from or representative from every Southeast Asian country. So that was like the first thing that we looked out for. And then the second thing was we tried to keep the gender equality to 50-50, but we're at 99% female right now. We have one guy. That was it right now. Okay, so it kind of shifted over the years. But for our work, because we're in marketing and advertising, I feel that media plays a very big part on culture. So the choice of words, I was just looking at a website earlier for a client, doing some research. And then I realized, the choice of image, is there diversity in that picture that they use to represent their products? So those kind, we have the say as a marketing and advertising agency to ensure that there's representation in the work that we put out. The language that we use is inclusive. We say business person, business people, not businessmen. These kind of little things that we try to ensure it's being done. So that's how we do it, like internally and externally.
That's really cool. And I really like the fact that you hired someone from every Southeast Asian country to stay on top of what's going on in the world as well. Yes. And like creating an understanding of what's happening. And I must say that I think it's pretty cool that you're 99% female run, even though obviously we're aiming for diversity and inclusion here. Yeah, I think that's
we awesome. Try to hire recently. I don't know how to say it without censoring. Okay, so you can. So we try to hire people from different sexual orientations as well to represent different minority groups. So it's not just in terms of race, but in different communities, because we need a representation from different types of communities as well. So it's not just in terms of race. But obviously we can't, when we put out the hire, we can't state that specifically. We just kind of hope that someone would come in to represent the group. And we recently have someone that joined us. So we're very happy.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. I think it's that must be also a big, thing to balance as a leader and when you hire things, because obviously you want representation within the company. At the same time, you can't, I guess, hire someone just because they are from a certain, or they are of a specific gender, or they are. So like, I think that's also something important to mention is that that's not how it's done, like we do, like you guys do hire competent people, and then I guess if they definitely competent first. Yeah, that's good. And I think that's something that actually we're starting to see more of now, because the goal is always to decrease discrimination, right? And we're seeing it more that people from different backgrounds, different sexualities, with different sexual like gender orientation, like are being more represented out there. And I guess that's the final goal of it all.
Everyone feels comfortable.
Exactly.
And express themselves.
That's amazing. Good job. And I think we already touched a little bit upon this, so maybe we can mix this question up, because or if you want to mention something else within this, but I wanted to touch upon like some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in your entrepreneurship journey, because we talked a lot about failure before, and I guess that's how we started off this talk. So maybe we can talk a little bit about challenges if there's something else that you want to mention, how you overcame those challenges. But then also we can talk about obviously some of your successes and shine some light on some positivity here as well. Because obviously you've had success in your journey as well.
Okay, wait, we leave the success part. I can't think of the success part yet.
Okay, all right.
Biggest challenge,
yes.
I would probably say it's unconscious bias when it comes to being female or when it comes to gender. So I've mainly worked in a male-dominated environment all this while, until I started my own, until I started Macchiato specifically. So previously it was all mainly, I think 95% of my colleagues were male. So, and also usually I am one of the youngest in my teams. So being female and one of the youngest, they just treat you differently. Doesn't mean, so they don't even look at competence. I think they kind of rule that out. But it's not, I know it's not done consciously. They're not bad people. They do it unconsciously. But it just kind of, how do you say? So for example, like if we're going to have a board meeting, I was like on a board of directors on my previous company. And when we have a board meeting, there is not enough seats at the table, but there's a couch at the room, in the boardroom. So if you go in late, if you walk into the room late and you don't have a chair to sit at the table, there's like 2 to 3 of us that have to sit on the couch. So before I read Sheryl Sandberg's book on Lean In, CEO of Facebook, before I read that book, I used to I like the couch because it's comfortable than the chair. So I would usually just go to the couch and I'll just sit there. I wouldn't think twice. Then I started to notice that, the men in the team wouldn't listen to the opinions that I have, or they would kind of dismiss certain ideas, even though I know that it's the right thing to do. So I started to pay more attention to how I can change the way that they treat me. So I started to walk into the room like 5 minutes earlier, just to ensure I have a seat right next to the CEO, right next to them, ensure that I learn how to command respect if I'm going to bring up my ideas. So I wouldn't say it's something that can't be changed. Everyone is trying to be more aware, especially with Me Too movement. The guys are very afraid of, they're so afraid of what they're going to do wrongly. Okay, the good ones are, there's still some that don't really care. So I know that a lot of people are trying to be more conscious. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say this because it might make them feel uncomfortable, whether it comes to gender or race or culture. A lot of people are trying, but I think it's also on our part on how we can help them change the way that they treat us. We also need to put in the effort. So I started to wear more pants. I don't wear dresses anymore. I don't wear skirts anymore. Yeah. I started to stand up straighter. My posture changed. I started to wear high heels because I found out that if you're taller, apparently people listen to you more. I started to wear darker colors, or if I am the main speaker in I'm doing public speaking, then I would intentionally wear a bright colored dress. Yeah. Because I want to let it be known that I'm female. So it really depends on how I overcome it. I use clothing. I learn from other female CEOs. I also actively seek out other female leaders to learn from. Yeah, so that's kind of what I did to overcome the unconscious bias in the workplace. But thank God I don't work with these people anymore, so it's great. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's one of it.
That's one of it.
That's one of it.
And a very important one. Very important one.
Since we are mainly all females here. And yeah, I hope that when it goes up on the website, the other females can see this as well.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And look at you now. Yeah. And going a little bit back in time then, unless you want to share a success story. Do you have a success story?
I don't think I have everyone's definition of success is different.
Yeah.
I haven't reached my level of success yet.
Okay.
The success that I want. Yeah.
Okay. We'll
so
get back
when
to
that point
bit.
comes, in like 2 to 3 years, I will come back and share.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
We'll reconnect with you in a couple of years. Okay. So we have many viewers that are around the same age that you were when you started out your journey. And hence why I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to them? Well, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to 19-year-old Joanna starting out her first business?
Don't listen to people. Block out all the noise. So if you have plans to start your own business, most of the people around you, based on 95%, or at least 80-20 Pareto principle, 80% of the people around you, they are employees. 20% of the people are bosses. So out of 10 friends, only 2 of your friends, if you're going to get opinions from people and you base it on 10 friends, only 2 of your friends would encourage you to start off a business. 8 of them are going to discourage you. Not because they have ill intentions, but they're offering the advice based on their own experience. It's what they know. And it's probably all that they know at that time when they offer you advice. So if you're going to start off your own business and you know the idea is great, you have a plan on how it's going to be built, how it's going to work out, you can seek counsel, but you need to go with your gut feeling and block out the noise and do whatever you feel that's right. So definitely don't listen to people. Listen to the right people. Judge the backgrounds of the people that you're going to seek advice from. So if you're going to start off being an entrepreneur, find another entrepreneur. Don't find an employee to get advice. Yeah. So that's one thing that I'll tell a 19-year-old me. And it would definitely help if you find a mentor in the same field that you want to succeed in. And I think I just want to address that finding a mentor doesn't mean you bug someone to teach you. It's not a free teacher. A mentor is not a free teacher. It's a two-way relationship that needs to be give and take. So a mentor, I've been mentoring for over 13 years. I still am. And I would find mentees that I know have the same drive. They have the determination. They're going to stick it out. They're going to keep to their word. And they're going, whatever that they say they're going to do, they actually, get down to doing it and not just keep coming back for free advice and kind of taking advantage of that. Because every successful person, if they do want to mentor a person or a group of people, first thing, someone who's successful, they already have lesser time. So the time that they give out to the person or the group of people is very important to them. That's money, that's opportunity cost, the time that they give out to mentor someone. So ensuring that there is a two-way relationship when you find a mentor is really important. So I have always, my first mentor when I was 19, I worked for him. I exchanged my time for his knowledge. So I built his company for him and I worked for free for 4 years. Okay, so back then when I met him, he was, based on his background, I was 19, he was a 26-year-old self-made millionaire. Okay, humble background, doesn't come from a rich family. So he really built everything on his own. And I was working with him. I still am working with him now. So now we, the company's kind of exited, or at least it has grown. And we have many more, we have a holding company with many different companies. So we still are working together. It's been 13 years, but I started off being his mentee.
Yeah.
But now I'm a shareholder. And we are a listed company right now. But when I started off with him, it was just a startup. So it's really, maybe the second advice would be focus more on, second advice would be to find a mentor and ensure it's a win-win relationship on both ends. Third thing is focus more on the learning. Don't focus on the money. Because if you increase your ability, the money will naturally come. If you have value, if you bring value to society, you will get paid. You don't need to focus on, okay, this job pays me 2,000. But if there's a boss that you want to learn from and they're paying you 1,500, for me, I personally would have gone for the 1,500 paying job. And because I want to learn from the person, because that $2,000 is short term, if the environment can't shape you. Yeah, so the thing would be focus more on the learning instead of the money. Money will naturally come.
Awesome. Yeah. Anything else to add?
Make sacrifices. I think that's the last thing. You will definitely, if you're going to start your own business, you will have to make a lot of sacrifices. For me, I sacrifice kind of playtime.
Yeah.
So like the weekends going out with friends, Friday nights going out for drinks when I was 19. So I really, I kind of stopped like my socializing for 4 years to focus on the first business. But then after that, when the money started to come in on the 5th year, and when I wanted to go out with my friends, they just started their career, or they were like 2-3 years in, so they have overtime. They are too tired to go on the weekends. So I realized that, the life just kind of changed after that. I had a lot more time. I had the time, I had the money, I want to go out with friends, but they don't have that anymore. So I found a different group of friends. So make sacrifices, because you will have to give up some time to if you really want to build your business and you feel that your business can make an impact to the people in the community. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We will move on to the last part of this interview, which are 3 questions that we ask everyone that comes on these talks. Excuse me. And after these 3 questions, we will have a short Q&A off camera. So we will ask these questions, and then so you guys can start, I guess, if you want to either put your questions in the chat, or you can hold off and you can ask Joanna directly if you want to unmute yourself later. But yeah, okay, so let's move on to the 3 quick questions. What good in the world does your job do?
My job specifically, or my agency?
However you want to interpret that question.
Okay, so if it comes to me specifically, it's the people. I can choose what kind of people to give the opportunities to be part of my team. That's one thing. So if it's someone that needs a source of income, or someone that wants to improve their quality of life, I can choose to give the opportunity to someone, because it's just based on who you want to be part of your team. So that's specifically about my role. I guess for my company, when we do marketing and advertising, we choose the clients that we want to represent. So the people in my social circle know that I kind of reject clients. I'm not hard up for them. So unless the team and I, or the core team and I, we believe that our clients' products and services is going to do good, then we take them on. Because when we do the marketing and advertising, their company would grow, they would have more customers, and if their product is good, let's just say it's going green, or it's what do you call it? It's a minority founder, so there's representation. We kind of choose the clients that we want to take on board to help the business grow, because we're very confident that our skills would help the companies grow. So we can choose who we want to help grow. If it's a client that, they're just in it for the money, and their product is just, for example, not to discriminate anyone, drop shipping, where everyone does drop shipping. We don't need to do that. It doesn't help anything much. It's just buying and selling. FMCG, just fast fashion, which doesn't help the environment. So we kind of choose not to take on these kind of clients. So that's the kind of good that we can do, at least in our small way, for the clients that come on board. Yeah.
Amazing. And what part of your job makes you want to wake up in the morning?
Knowing that it's a means to an end. So my end, when you ask about my successes, or that question, and I say I'll come back in a few years. So whatever that I do right now is just a means to an end. So my end goal is that I want to build a Michael Jackson Charity Children Hospital. Okay, and being in business for the past 13 years, and I probably will continue running my business at least for the next 4 to 5 years, so that it's stable until I hire someone to take over what I can do. When I do business, I meet a lot of different people who also have money, they have influence, and I intend to use this network, get them to contribute to the hospital that I want to build, the charity hospital that I want to build. And that's actually my end. So I hope to be able to do it by the time I'm 40. That's 10 years from now. I have been planting seeds along the way. So that's what makes me get up is not the day-to-day work, marketing work that I do for my client. 50% of why I wake up is that I know that I want to build this hospital. I don't know why I've had this idea since I was 19 and I still want to do it. I haven't lost the passion to do that. The second reason is that the people in my team, who's I know that they are, and it's kind of weird because some of them are here. So it's kind of, I know that their families, the income that they bring back is not just for them, it's also for their family, their current family, or they're building towards a better future, or they're building or planning to save up for their future family. So I kind of feel that responsibility on me. And it's also why I know I have to wake up and ensure that everyone is making money. We have clients, and they're also growing. They're developing themselves personally on top of just making money. So to me, their personal development is as important as the money that they're making. Yeah.
Awesome. And the final question is, what advice would you give to someone looking to start exploring the field today or in the next 5 years? I guess we can talk about marketing or crypto here. I guess you can pick and choose a little bit, or the both combined.
I think my advice will be obsolete in 5 years. Things are changing so fast.
Yeah.
So I think I can only say you got to be adaptable. You got to adapt. Even if you feel that you're stable right now in your career, whether you're running your own business or you're working for someone and you're making a decent income, things are going to change in the next 6 months. Whatever that I'm going to say right now is not going to work for the next 5 years. So you got to be adaptable. You got to be resilient. You got to stick it out. If our baby boomers finally learn how to online shop and our parents' generation, they are comfortable with online shopping now, I think Gen Zers got to get comfortable, or at least millennials, I would say, we got to get comfortable with the idea on how money is perceived. It's not going to be in fiat anymore. It's going to be in crypto, digital currency. Neobanks are going to replace traditional banking. The way that, so many things are going to change. So even whether they are 19 years old now, if the people that's watching this, you're 19, is going to change. If you're 30 years old, the future is going to change. If you're 40, 50, 60, it's still going to change. So we just have to constantly adapt. And like the animal kingdom, survival of the fittest, is just going to be like that till we're gone. That kind of sounds depressing right now, but that's facts. That's how it's going to be.
I think it's hopeful as well that
it's
change
hopeful,
is happening. Change
it's
is happening.
Evolving.
Exactly. It depends on what kind of view you want to have, on it. And as an entrepreneur, obviously you have a positive view on change. Thank you so much for.
And there's opportunity in all these changes. As long as you adapt quick, you find the opportunity, you can make some good out of it for yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. We're gonna thank you so much, Joanna, for coming. We're gonna say goodbye to our video listeners who are watching this back, and the rest of us are gonna stick around, hopefully for Q&A. But I just want to say goodbye to those who are watching this back, and make sure you go follow us, Nexgen Careers, on LinkedIn, so you can stay on top of upcoming talks, and obviously connect with Joanna and on LinkedIn and follow her and her entrepreneurial journey. And are you accepting new mentees? And on TikTok and on Instagram. Exactly. We'll put all the links below.
They can feel free to reach out if they need advice on if they want to start a business. even if they're not intending to start a business, they are young females who need advice stepping into their career. Yeah, or you can be a guy as well. If you're comfortable taking advice from me, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. And we'll stick around for the Q&A.